Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Right on Crime podcast. My name is Britt Allen with Right on Crime, and I am here with our brand new Louisiana State Director, Dwight Hudson. How's it going, Dwight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you. Welcome to the state of Texas. There's not as much rivalry between Texas and Louisiana as other states. How is it being in Austin?
Austin is a great city. I've enjoyed being here. The facilities here at TPPF are amazing.
Yeah, so it's a pretty special awesome. Building. You mentioned yesterday that you hadn't seen the weird in Austin yet. Do you feel like that's changed since we last talked about it?
I have not seen it yet. Coming from Louisiana, where we've got New Orleans, and I've been there quite a bit, it's not that weird yet. So
Okay, hot take. You heard it here first. Well, we're really excited to have you. Thank you for coming on board. So I want to start off just talking a little bit about your background. Tell me a little bit about your story, your professional background, and really how you ended up with Right on Crime.
Sure. So I'm a criminal justice major, graduated 2008 criminal justice, and at that time I really wanted to be a police officer. That's what I thought I was going to do coming out of college, but in my last semester of college I really enjoyed arguing with my professors, actually. So at that time, I started getting involved in some campaigns and that kind of thing, and decided politics is something I was really interested in. That didn't really jive with civil service laws and that kind of thing. So I decided that I wanted to pursue politics professionally, and started working on campaigns professionally. And then from there, got into real estate as well. In 2016, I ran for city council in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and started doing that. And so that has allowed me to sort of still deal with criminal justice policy some. And so it's been an interesting way to sort of get involved in this whole thing.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about your council position. Like, what is it about that you absolutely love? What have you learned since being a councilman?
Yeah, so people will fuss about anything.
Is it like Parks and Rec? Because sometimes I watch Parks and Rec and I'm like, wow, that is crazy.
Yes, except for in Baton Rouge, the city council doesn't deal with parks, but very much, that local government vibe, you're definitely getting that. Awesome. I would say the most interesting thing about it is just the myriad of topics you get to deal with, right? So we're dealing with everything from healthcare for our 6,000 employees and retirees. We're dealing with keeping the streets updated and sidewalks, cracks fixed and that kind of thing. So we really deal with all sorts of topics. And so that's interesting, just having your hands in everything. Yeah.
I know you said that law enforcement was something you used to want to get into really bad, and you're a criminal justice major. So can you think of a particular time or story that might have that you can remember that really sparked your interest and really got you fired up about this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the really tragic things in Baton Rouge's history is we had a police shooting with Alton Sterling, and then an attack on officers immediately after that, an ambush of our police officers immediately after that. And so it really put a spotlight on Baton Rouge, how our police interact with the public, and that sort of thing. And so that really opened my eyes to say, look, we've got to do some things better in the criminal justice realm.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then I want to ask a little bit about your last session. It was your first session since you joined the Right on Crime team, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about how that went. What were some of the wins? What were some of the things you learned? Just give me the rundown.
Yeah, so it was an interesting session. In Louisiana, the sessions are broken up into fiscal sessions and then a regular session. This was a fiscal session, and so legislators are limited to just 5 bills that are non-fiscal. So a relatively light load for criminal justice, but still some very significant things got done. So we dealt with juvenile records and our ability to have those in the ICJIS system, which is essentially the criminal justice database that we're building in Louisiana. We're able to have those records available, but still protect that juvenile data. So that was a big win. And then we also dealt with criminal records for other folks as well, to be able to have access to those. So that was really important. Moving forward, there's some really big things on the horizon as well, and we're excited about those.
Okay, so then tell me about that, because when does your next session start?
So next session, I believe, will be in February of next year.
Okay, that's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about looking forward and ahead. What are you hoping for, and what do you want to work on in that next session?
Right. So the two big issues that I think I see the most consensus building around are on bail reform. And then around reentry. Okay. So particularly on reentry, what we see is that we have better outcomes from people that are reentering from state facilities versus our local jails. About 52% of the offenders in Louisiana are actually housed in local jails. They're not in state facilities. And so we need to beef up some of the programming that we have available in those local jails and get better outcomes from them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then tell me a little bit about bail reform.
Yeah, so Texas gave us the model, right? We have a lot of folks, a lot of stakeholders who saw what happened in this Texas legislature this past year and said, look, we have this problem where violent offenders are getting out on low bail or unmonitored and are reoffending. And so we need to look at doing some things differently in Louisiana to address that situation. So we're very excited about tackling that issue.
Yeah, Texas did set the model for a lot of things, including tacos and things like that. No, that's awesome. I'm really excited to see more about your session and to see you have some great wins coming up. I want to dial in a little bit on your state as a whole as well. Every state that we have is, they have opportunities and gaps and things where we can improve, but we also do a lot of things really well in each particular state. So what would you say that your state does really well when it comes to criminal justice that you'd want to highlight?
Yeah, that's a tough question in Louisiana. I'll be honest with you. We don't have a lot of good outcomes, right? We have one of the higher recidivism rates in the country, and we have a lot of crime in our population centers. But I think that where we shine is, where we're starting to shine is in our ability to address those issues, right? I think there's a big consensus building around reentry, like we just talked about. And so folks, all the stakeholders are beginning to acknowledge the issue and beginning to address it.
Yeah, even just acknowledgement of the issue
Right.
is a win. So that's great. I love that. Well, I also want to ask you a little bit about, if somebody wanted to keep up with you and your work, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter now, thanks to you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks for getting on.
And so they can reach out to me there. And of course, the TPPF website, the Right on Crime website.
Absolutely. And then my very last question, I always love to end on a positive note, is there something happening in the nation, whether that's in your state, as a country as a whole, what makes you feel optimistic about the state of criminal justice right now?
Yeah, I think the emphasis on data collection and having sound data to make decisions is one of the big bright spots. We can look at a myriad of topics within criminal justice where that is happening, be it bail reform, where we're looking at using risk assessment tools, that type of thing, where we're following crime trends down to individual blocks and neighborhoods that different municipalities are using. I think all of those are really positive trends where we're not just looking out and kind of guessing about what works. We're actually using data to address those issues. And so I think that's a really positive thing.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Dwight, we're so excited that you're on the team. We can't wait to see all the great work that you do. So we appreciate you coming on the show today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for joining us for the Right on Crime podcast. To reach out to our team or to learn more about these issues, you can visit our website at rightoncrime.com. Until then, see you next time.